Organization Television, GAO TV. Welcome back to Abundance Show. Today we have a truly dynamic leader who embodies transformation and purposeful living. Our guest has remarkable 17 years international business career, leading high performance team across Latin America and Caribbean for a global shipping leader. But beyond her impressive corporate success, she's now channeling her expertise into empowering others as IPEC certified professional coach focusing on energy and career transition. Please welcome Lauren-Guidry, Head of Customer Care and Business Excellence at CMA, CGM, and the brilliant mind behind LG Energy Coaching. Lauren, it is a pleasure to have you with us on show. Thank you so much for gracing my show. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you so much. Okay, Lauren, my first question is always about life journey. If you can get us your childhood and now as being young, could you get us some story, your life story and life journey?
Sure. Well, in a nutshell, based in Pensacola, Florida. So this is the Panhandle. Actually, it's the first city in the United States, established in 1559, so a bit of history. And I moved out at the age of 20 to come down to Miami, Florida. Graduated in Pensacola, Florida at the University of West Florida undergrad on supply chain and logistics. And when I came to Miami, I was working with Siva Logistics for 2 years. I left to go to North Carolina to pursue national MBA, where I spent part of the time abroad to Bremen, Germany. I stayed in Hamburg, Germany to write my master's during the time I was writing my master's thesis, and also working at the Port of Hamburg, falling completely in love with maritime shipping and everything that had to do from being in a fully automated port and learning about different shipping companies. I was also learning German at the time. I tried to work with Hamburg Süd in Hamburg, and unfortunately it wasn't the right timing. So I took a different opportunity, which brought me down to Santiago, Chile. And I worked with the United Nations for 1 year as a consultant there, working on sustainable transportation practices with CEPAL, which is the United Nations out of Santiago, Chile. And then I moved back to Miami. This was in 2015. And I worked with Hamburg Süd here in Miami for just over 2 years, close to 2.5. And then I jumped ship and started working with CMA CGM back in August 2017. And I'm still with them today. And yeah, one of my key passions continues to be this fascinating world of international maritime shipping. So not so much in the childhood, but my entire journey in a nutshell for you.
Such an inspirational and courageous and full of effort and energy story. Thank you so much. Okay, Lauren, what is abundance to you, and how can one unleash abundance of health, wealth, and happiness? And how can we make this planet more abundant instead of scarcity?
So when I think of abundance, the first thing that comes to mind is our natural energies, right? Our life force. And this is also one of the big passions that I have. So if I was going to put this into 3 different columns, let's say it would be maritime shipping, also AI, and then also our individual personal energies that we have, and then how they actually come together as a one collective or one consciousness, right? And inside of this abundance, we all have within ourselves this source energy, and when we learn how to attune to it and become aligned with it, we live a life of abundant energy and can share that love and joy with ourselves to heal our bodies and transform our minds in remarkable ways, and also to connect with others and help heal humanity from one friend or one person at a time.
Thank you, Laureen. That's amazing and abundant reply. Thank you. Lauren, your LinkedIn post highlighted a powerful idea. Your energetic field is sculpturing your reality. For our listeners, how do these energetic circle, whether old pattern or workplace energy, actually impact an individual's potential for abundance? I mean, how can one begin to consciously reshape them?
So I think more and more there's a lot of science about this. There's also a lot of people, different experts that are speaking about different energetic fields or bioenergetics. Also, inside of psychology, there's this cognitive behavioral thinking or patterns. And in a simplistic form, it is basically the thoughts that we have become the emotions that we start to carry, and therefore the actions that as a result of those thoughts and emotions we act on, and they become our behavior, right? And over time, as we continue these patterns, it's basically it shapes how we see reality. It becomes our reality, and it's many people might not be aware of the power that they have, that their thoughts are their own conscious thoughts, and they have then the power within themselves to change their thoughts and to choose better thoughts that are more positive and more uplifting. And as they continue to do this, they start to create a new life and reshape the life that they want to have. And this is very much the energies further into it. If you want me to explain, would you like me to explain a little bit deeper into the energies?
Yeah, sure. This is take your time. I mean, I want since I mean this is the program is to fetch best out of you. So I mean, I want you to please exhibit as the best as you can. I mean, this is your show, and you have all of it. I mean, go ahead and please explain if you want to.
Well, so many come across, they know a little bit about coaching, or they know a lot about therapy maybe, and sometimes confuse the two, or want to have more information. So I think maybe just starting with that place is a good point of what is therapy versus what is coaching. So therapists are licensed professionals, right, that study psychology and help to analyze a person's childhood or rooted beginnings, right? Spend a lot of time going into the core of the person, of where the first patterns and behavioral traits. Whereas a coach is somebody that meets you, they're also normally certified. Hopefully you're choosing certified coaches. But the purpose of this is to an accountability partner that are meeting you where you are today and helping you to get to where you want to become tomorrow. So there's a framework. Many different institutions offer that. The one that I studied is with IPEC, which is certified through the International Coaching Federation, ICF. And an important aspect of IPEC that is the reason I chose that school is their Energy Leadership Index. And inside of this, to go a little bit deeper now into the energies, there are two types of energies. There's the anabolic energy and also catabolic energy. And the teaching behind this is that there are no positive or negative aspects to these different anabolic and catabolic energies. But instead, each energy is like, if you want to think of it like wearing different glasses. So you can imagine when you have catabolic energies, these are destructive. So when you wear this lens or have this different energy, you're viewing the world from a destructive energy, right? Through anger or being victimized, thinking that everything is happening to you and feeling really dumb. And in the opposite, when you come into an anabolic energy or use this lens as they teach you, right? You can see it through the different levels. You start to see life through a more uplifting and constructive behavior. And when you learn how to move into these different energies, and there's different techniques that we can maybe go through a little bit of, to align yourself with that constructive anabolic energy patterns, there's a lot of beauty and magic that starts to unfold before you in your life.
Lauren, I mean, this is mesmerizing. And I was all focusing on catabolic, whereas I should be working on anabolic energy. And my part of the world is all about catabolic energy. I mean, we are transmitting or receiving catabolic energy, and how one can change the prospects from catabolic to anabolic energy.
Yes, so attention, whatever you're paying attention to is where your energy is going to flow towards, right? So it's very easy, and it's in different parts of the world and for different reasons. It's quite familiar, right, to have this pattern of paying attention to something like, for example, a car accident or a difficult time, a difficult period, right? It's a very common pattern to go into that catabolic state. However, I would invite everyone to practice changing this pattern, even in a moment, right? Even during this conversation, and you can do it quickly by focusing. Zafar, if you want to be my client in this experience, you can just breaths, I think, is the first way to get centered and to get aligned. So maybe if you want to try with me, just to get comfortable and seated back into your chair, and we'll just take a few breaths together. Close our eyes and let go of all the heaviness and the weight that we carry. So I invite you to take a deep breath with me in through your nose and out through your mouth. Second breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And this third breath, imagine all the love coming in with your air. And releasing everything out of your mouth. Letting go. And as you open your eyes and come back, just a check-in quickly before we continue. How does that feel?
I mean, it just looks like I'm just like a newborn. I mean, it's a new world. I mean, it gets me a lot of energies, and it's just so relaxing. despite the fact that I had a lot of things in my mind running through my head. But I mean, this is so relaxing, and this gives me energy, and it refills my exhausted energies. This is amazing.
Yeah, so this is one aspect, right? It's the beginning of a meditation, but that is just three simple breaths. So we didn't even go into an actual meditation, right? But the point is that we all get into this humans, right? We're always thinking and always we have all these thoughts going through our brain running, and we start to remunerate on them and churn and churn and churn and solving these problems that only exist in our minds, right? And that behavior over time becomes this pattern. And in order to break it, there's different techniques. So first, for example, the breath, coming back to breath and taking a few, even three, but the more you do, so if you could get into a pattern and say, in the mornings I'm going to spend time breathing, and at night I'm going to spend time breathing, and you just come into this centered where you're not thinking about anything, and you're letting go of the day, right? Letting go, focus only on breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. And over time, as you start to do this, what you're doing is you're really centering yourself and centering your energies. And then the next step behind that is to become more intentional and more focused and say, when I catch myself thinking this catabolic thoughts about whatever's happened to me or situations that I'm in, or difficult circumstances that maybe you find yourself involved in, you want to catch and pay attention, and then let that thought go and make your next thought an intentional thought. That's something that pleases you and uplifts you, right? This anabolic. So whether it's abundance, that's a beautiful word and a great, I think that's a very anabolic state, right? To come into and say, what is abundant in my life? What am I grateful for? What are the things that I have? I have flowers, I have light, I have air conditioner, I have friends, I have myself, I have my hands, I have my eyes. I mean, you can go from the biggest things that come in your mind to the smallest. The ability that we have today to just connect like this in a live form, virtually, with you in Pakistan and me in Miami. It's incredible. How fortunate, how grateful are we to be alive right now, living in this time space reality where we can share in this way. I mean, what a success, right? What an abundance of possibilities that we have. And Zafar, I invite you as this client, right? What do you feel grateful for? What are things that come to your mind?
Well, there are a million things. I mean, starting from my head to foot. I mean, look, I've been blessed with vision. I can see, smell, taste. I can listen. I can talk, and I've got. Though I'm not best at brains, but still I have a little sense of right and wrong, and I have chosen abundance, not scarcity, and keep trying. My vision and my mission and my the dream is to make peace between the fighting nations, tribes, the school of thoughts. My whole life I have focused on people to get them together. Like my talking to you, it is not out of purpose. I talked to you earlier. Our heart resonate for housing, abundance, peace, prosperity, and we want to generate energies instead of exhaustion. And we want to get it to work, and we want to make the world more abundant. I cannot thank for this here. There are people spending millions to get the hair back. They can't. There are trillionaires, really, and they can't get this hair back when they are fall. And even I mean this is lid. I mean I cannot thank the God for this lid that opens and closes for itself. Once it's out of neuron, if there is a neurological problem with this, and if there is no neurons working here, so if this falls down, no power on earth can take it up. So I his energy. I'm so thankful that I eat and I get digested and passes through, and I can walk on my feet. My hands are intact, and I am fair color. I feel myself. I have started in recently. I am trying to love myself. I'm feeling difficulties. I'm trying to get to my. I'm trying to replace all of my scarce thinking and substituting with abundant thinking. That's why I keep speaking abundance, abundance, abundance. I keep talking about it. I have changed my whole scenario. I have changed my friends. The people I have started talking to people like yourself. Earlier, before you, I was featuring a personality who was like yourself, a life coach, a writer, a podcaster, and working on energy also. And she was also trying to connect from oneself with one as you're working. And your work is amazing. Your institution is amazing. What you're working on, and the channeling the energy is amazing. And I want you to feature me as guest on your show, so that I can pay my gratitude to my God, whatever I have, whatever abundance I have, the friends, family, and everything. Though I've been through the challenges also, but those were tough, not bad. Tough but not bad. They were good. They have taught me a lot. I needed that. Honestly, since I'm through that, it's things. I feel as if I'm reborn. This is my rebirth after getting through that things. So will you be thinking? I suppose so. But if you want me, I can go hours and hours and hours for paying gratitude to person like yourself, or friends you like yourself, and to the God, to Almighty Allah. I really really cannot thank for even having this nail. If it goes off, I can spend trillions, and though I can't, but if somebody spend trillions, this can't come back. The age, the time that has passed, we cannot bring a second, a minute, a day in our life back. No, we can't. There are trillion things to think about. There are abundance of abundance. The Allah Almighty is abundant, and His all characteristics are abundant. Look, I cannot thank God for drinking a glass of water. That if there is not available, and if I'm thirsty, I'm locked in that one glass of water, or like his breath. If I am in suffocated somewhere, everything is blessing, but only in only one condition. We do get them, and we thank God only in the condition when we lose them. So I have just started rethinking that. Let's thank the Almighty and thank the people before we lose them. Generally, people when they die or then when they go, then we only. There have been people in my life I have really, like yourself. I really thank you so much for taking in consideration this is aspect of my life. That you asked me to speak about the gratitude. There are trillion things, and I really cannot count. There are things that I really don't know. There are things that I know. I am thankful for them, and there are a lot of things that look. What's going on in my heart? I don't know. What's going on in part of my body? I don't know. But I'm thankful for all those known and unknown, and I feel so gratitude, and that gets me a lot of energy. And you're really, really energy coach. I was down on energies, and you got me back to energies. Thank you so much. So, can I ask the next question? But I want you to, I want to have your say on what I said, and then I'll have the next question.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would like to notice what you actually already mentioned, right? That as you were speaking, in the beginning, you started to speak a little bit about the wars and the what's happening, right, in your surroundings, and you went a little bit down energetically. And then quickly you started to transform, and you spoke about your hair and your eyes and your eyelids and your nails. And as you went on, you could see your energy, you could see your state, your posture just coming up, right? So, and again, for all that are listening, right, the message is that we have inside of each and every one of us this unlimited source of energy, this abundant source of energy. And that source, it to go into it, right, of where it comes from. So whether you're a religious person and you believe in God, or you're a spiritual person and you understand the spiritual aspects, or if you just want to go into the physics of it, right, all coming together, this is an amazing abundance of everlasting energy that you have. And you have the power, each and every one of you, to perform this. It's, if you want to think of it as this self-transformation that you can do in the matter of seconds, to start breathing, just create the space where you come to a balance, and then focus your thoughts. So the easiest way to start is what Zafar and I have both showed you, through practicing gratitude, right? That's the quickest and the easiest way. And just give thanks to be here, to be alive, to be able to receive this message, and then to be able to start practicing yourself. And then as you go deeper into understanding energies and how it works, making those habits become your nature and the way that you move through life, that's when you're able to really make the transformation to heal yourself and your mind and your body and your soul, and then also show up for others and make big changes and big impacts in the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lorraine, for so insightful. I mean, getting me energy. I'm really enjoying each second of the program. You've had a distinguished career in international business, particularly in supply chain logistics. How did your experience in the corporate world, managing diverse teams and driving processes excellence from inform your decision to become energy coach and focus on individual transformation, where there are specific energetic lessons you learned in the corporate setting that you now apply to coaching? It looks like some internet connections issue, probably just because we are poles apart from each other, and there could be some internet problem as there have been earlier. Okay, Lauren, could you hear to what I said, or like I have to repeat the question?
I could hear your question, and then I think we lost our connection. But if you can hear me well, I'm here now.
Yeah, yeah, sure, I can hear you. Well, I mean, you're back to business.
Okay. So yes, certainly there are many experiences throughout my career, which have helped transform or allow this place, right, of energies. I would like to say first, I think, and the beauty of what I enjoy about maritime shipping is the connection of people across different countries and cultures. So every time, right now, for example, I work in the regional office in Miami that is responsible for all of Latin America and the Caribbean agencies. So various languages and backgrounds and cultures of people. And then inside of our office, we also have a multitude of different cultures and backgrounds working in Miami. The company is a French company, so that's the primary level that we have across the management team, and it's just provided so much exposure, right, to these different, when we speak about energies, right, because a lot of that as well is conditioned in the cultures that we're growing up in. So you mentioned Zafar, for example, where you're from in Pakistan. Maybe there's a lot of this catabolic energy. Where I'm from in the U.S., where the culture is much more anabolic, right? And they are always speaking of kind of a glass, working in teams, to the point that, even kids, when you're on different sports teams growing up, it's not uncommon that all of the teams, both the winners and the losers, would receive trophies, right? So it's just it's a different approach that you might see in other sides of the world, like in France, for sure. That's not going to happen, and in most of Europe as well. So I think anytime that we're in these settings that allow exposure to the different cultures and backgrounds, we can see why people think the way that they do. There's a lot of philosophy behind that, and it's very interesting to me. And working in these diverse groups have really helped to understand both the way that I'm showing up and why, and understanding my approach to different situations in a work setting and team. And then also understanding everyone around me and where they're coming from and why they think the way that they do, and how they're coming to address or provide a solution to a different problem, and how we work and exchange with one another. So that's definitely been a wonderful place to learn about people and learn about the different exposures to energies and thought patterns that we have.
Wow, Lauren, each word is an energy packet. Your recent post also emphasized letting go, staying aligned. This can be challenging for high achievers. Can you share a practical strategy or a mindset shift that helps individual release the need for control and trust the process, especially when their desired outcomes aren't unfolding as planned?
So this is something that honestly I spend a lot of time working on in my own personal journey. In the corporate world, I certainly am a controlling person. I'm a controller. This is why I rose the ranks that I did, and I was taught, I was built to work that way, right? To always anticipate what could come, make sure that I was 2 steps ahead of everything happening, so I could bring my teams along, right? And always drive and push for exceeding results and growth and profits. And in the personal life, it doesn't really work that way as much as I would like it to. It's when I anticipate or force or control different things and outcomes, what I'm doing is both usually restricting whatever I want to happen from happening, just by the mere intention that I'm forcing it or controlling it. And also I'm missing out on all the opportunities that life is trying to provide for me. So this is really something that once, and now that I know that, it's a pattern, my own pattern, that I'm consciously trying to break and say, okay, as I can learn to really let go, I'm changing myself from this intentional force to then turn the opposite and be very open and receptive to all the beautiful life unfoldings that are available to me and that are happening. And in this is where, when we come back to this word of being centered and being aligned, it's where life unfolds in this beautiful experience of everything that is ready for me and available to all of us starts to show up. And it's very, very beautiful.
Beautiful it is, surely. Okay, Lauren, you help clients launch careers, lead new teams, and navigate career transitions. For someone currently at a crossroad in their professional journey, what's one key piece of advice you'd offer to help them identify and align with their authentic career path rather than just pursuing what they think they should do?
Yeah, so this is a little bit aligned with what I'm saying now, right? So let's take, for example, somebody that has studied um, computer science. And they've studied computer science because their parents told them that this is the field that is going to provide the most sustainable and certainty for their career. So they studied it, and now they're looking for a job in computer science, and they're knocking on all the doors and all the companies that can provide this profession, right? But somewhere inside their voice and in their heart, they know that they would rather be in marketing, for example. And so they have this desire inside themselves that maybe hasn't even become vocalized or even brought to their awareness of marketing, but somewhere inside themselves they have that dream, right? This is a common scenario. So the person can launch their career and get started inside of computer science, and not until maybe years later they come back around and say, actually, what I really wanted to do was marketing. And then they find themselves transitioning, right? And it can be anything. It can be, from whatever career A to career B, right? But this is a common pattern that happens. And where I would like to work with clients on is in that beginning stage before they take that first leap to push the computer science or their career A, develop a little bit further. What is really their why? What are they really after? Do they want to go into computer science because that's what their parents told them, or their surrounding ecosystem of support told them, or is that what they really want to be doing for themselves? And I think that the more that we can become attuned with who we are and what is our own purpose and our own desires, and we make that first step in our career aligned with, that's where we're going to find a more purposeful driven life and create careers that are really going to be life changing, both for ourselves and for the community, and the work that we're doing here as humans.
Rain, you're amazing. I mean, your insight is amazing. It's full of energies. With your deep experience in both corporate leadership and energy coaching, what's a common invisible block or energetic pattern you frequently see prevailing talented individuals from reaching their full potential and experiencing true abundance in both their professional and personal lives? And what's the first step to dissolving that block?
What a great question, Zafar. The largest block, the biggest block that's most commonly seen is the belief around, people believe that they are not good enough. And inside of this belief, there's a lot of different outcomes that happen as a result. So because one does not believe that they're good enough, often they don't take the step. They don't take an action to go towards the life that they want to live. Or also they create defenses or protections to distance people away, from them, so that they can perceive to have their own control of life, and create protection of others from harming them or finding out this insecurity that they have. So they may come off really tough and really strong, but inside they're actually feeling very insecure and very weak. Also, in a case, you might see people that feel like they don't believe that they're good enough that instead of just living a life that's very authentic, they come up with this over personification, or trying to achieve really high titles or high success or high fame or high money, or these different things that they try to acquire and label on themselves, because inside they don't feel complete and they don't feel like they are good enough. So ways that I work with clients to help them overcome this is to first invite them to look at themselves. And usually this does start when you're, oftentimes when we are young, right? So it's the infant inside of us, or the little child, if you want to think of it that way. And I invite clients to just have a conversation with themselves. Maybe, Zafar, would you be open to see what that looks like?
Yeah, I mean, since I mean, I have I'm already 47 now, and I have just overcome some of my limiting belief. I am really open. You ask me anything, I'm gonna tell you really, truly, despite the fact it could quietly be against me. I'm really open to. You can ask anything. I am in.
Okay. Well, my first question is, do you have this belief yourself that you are not good enough?
I mean, you caught me right in. I mean, you bored me from the first. Okay, yes. I mean, yeah, despite the fact that I have been practicing abundance, I'm trying meditation, and I have been purposefully thinking that I'm enough abundance and everything. But I mean, this is just a beginning. It's a couple of months now, but from inside, yes, there's an invisible block that say no, I mean, you're lying, you're not enough, you look at your book, I mean, the mind, when it gets me to comparing with others, comparing houses, car, vehicles, and status, and incomes, and then the limiting belief, that the scarcity mindset just keep popping up all the time. And the reality is, I mean, we've been trained as a scarcity mind of scarcity since the earlier, our forefathers and their forefathers, there was not, food was not in abundance, electricity was not in abundance, things were scarce. So and we were not used to live in the houses we live in, and we were not used to there were, everything was scarce. So that scarcity prevails minds. Although now there is abundance of resources, abundance of lot many things, but mindset is not abundant. So that's what I mean. That's
Mm.
my challenge too. That's my invisible block. That all. I mean, despite the fact I mean, I'm wearing Global Abundance Organization. This is GAO, and this is what I'm preaching. And when I preach, the closest is to my words is to myself. I mean, the distance between my lips and my ear is shortest. So I am preaching to myself when I ask everybody to be abundant, to forget about wars, to come to pieces. So I am in fact preaching myself. I am bringing the home reality home. More I talk about, more I get more energies, and more I mean, then I keep connecting to the people like yourself. In 3 months, I had zero connection in on my LinkedIn. I had the LinkedIn account, but it was zero. No, this is more than 700s in 3 months. I had zero connections on my Facebook. No, they are more than enough. I don't know how many, in hundreds and hundreds, hundred. And I was nowhere to be seen on the social media. But I mean, there's a person, Rihan Allahwala, and he is my mentor. And somehow we got connected, and he asked me to, I want to podcast you. And I said, sir, I read, despite the fact I have been following him, he's a person, he's always seen on the media, and he's one of the best person we have, and he's a visionary person. I said, sir, although I love you, I mean, I have huge respect for you, but I do not feel any urge to come into media and showing myself up. He said, no, I mean, there are 70% persons on the face of earth who are like yourself. They don't have purpose in their life. So if you want to talk on that, okay, I said, okay, if it can generate some value for somebody on the face of earth, okay, because he got a lot of followers. I mean, around 60 million people are following him, and he's an amazing person. I said, okay. So that was not a podcast. That was not a mere discussion. Now, as you're talking, you're like, I mean, this is not simply like taking the air in and exhausting. No, 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 no. This is much more beyond that. This is a system. I really believe, I have started believing in this just because it has changed me in these 90 days, in more around 100 and some days. And it has really, really, I mean, I'm quite a transformed person. I really feel it on my body. And yes, I mean, I am open to you. I mean, my answer to question is yes. I feel in lot many things. I mean, I feel scared just because, I mean, I've been thinking it for decades and decades. It's really it is engraved on my mind and heart. This scarcity. But what I'm doing, I'm every day. I'm trying to scratch it off, rip it off every day, every day, every. I'm trying to clean it, and I'm doing and doing. So bit of it has started working, but I mean, how much I can't really gauge. But I mean, to I can I have started loving myself. I mean, I never did that. I never thought that I have nose. I mean, this is nice one. I've got eyes. He's a nice one. I've got face much better than millions. I never not. I mean, I'm declining anybody, but I mean, I never thought of that ever. I was into such a toxic relationship. What to think of myself? I mean, I was into things I can't tell you. I'll be telling you someday, but I mean, I really I can't. Okay, so yes, there are things I still feel scarce about, but I mean, my belief is abundance, and I believe the energy that you're a transformer and you do that. I really believe the energy. I have respect for that. Back to you.
So thank you for sharing all of that, and for confirming that indeed, instead of the good enough, yours, it sounds like, comes from this place of scarcity or the lack mindset, which is also a very common one, right? And it's also common as well when you talk or hear about people that might be coming from a place that don't have the same resources, right? So they don't have electricity maybe, or they don't have a support system of family, or they don't have abundance that they're aware of, meaning that they think or they're told that they need to have X amount of money or X amount of clothing or X amount of education, and they don't have the access or availability to that. And therefore then their minds, or the community around them, are saying, you don't have enough, you don't have enough. So that is what develops over time, as you mentioned, this lack mindset or the scarcity mindset. And you mentioned to me as well that this is something that you're working on daily to get rid of that mindset, right? I just want to encourage you a little bit here, to change and reframe even that message. Because if you're telling yourself every day it's something that you have to work towards, then every day you wake up thinking that it's still something you have to let go of. Versus today, right now, Zafar, in this moment, I have abundance. I have everything I need and more. And every step I take, every route I pursue, every conversation I engage in, I offer my abundant love. I embody abundance. I am abundant. how does that feel?
Oh, honestly, if I practice you with every day, very sooner I'll be get stronger and I'll be doing impossible things possible.
I think you're already doing that. And that's the intention is everything. So make the intention in the route that you're already on, right? Towards this abundance. That's all.
Wow. Thank you. And anything else? I mean, if taking me as your client, I mean, I want you to advise me. Despite the fact you do not know a lot of things, I mean, since we could talk, we did for a short time, and it was shorter. I mean, if you want, I can take it to any length, just because I mean, I do not have next guest featuring. So, if you want to ask me questions, I'll be really happy to reply, just because I've just been out of the toxic relationship. It's been like 1 year. I'm trying to get touch ground, and I'm trying to be grounded. And I just started thinking. I mean,
Hmm.
I was, for 20 years, I could not think anything. I could not see anything. I could not taste any taste. I could not listen to anything that I love, or I could not do anything I love. I could not. I was not me. It was some robot. I was controlled by somebody, and it's now. Despite the fact that I've got 4 boys with me now, and that's a huge responsibility on me. But again, I'm living each moment, and I really do. Yeah, there are a lot of challenges. I'm having tougher time, but again, I'm really enjoying. This is good time. So I want you to advise me for the boys and for myself also, and I want to love myself back. I mean, yeah, I never did, but I mean, I want. I mean, this now I want to.
So, in the same way that we use this example, right, of what you mentioned, your past has come from this scarcity mindset, right? And so you mention every day you try to get rid of that versus where you're going to start going, right, from today on, you're only focusing on abundance. You're exuding abundance. You are abundance. And therefore, the rest of that story, you let it go. You drop it today. It's no longer this weighted backpack or this baggage that you carry into tomorrow. It won't come tomorrow. As of tomorrow, Zafar, you've recreated your identity around abundance. You've created the global abundant organization. You are connecting people across the world with this message of abundance, right? And so, therefore, everything in your story going forward is abundance. And there's no need to bring it with all the other baggage that you've had of the scarcity of anything that was before, because you know better. You know now that story doesn't serve you, right? So, the same thing with your previous relationship or previous situation or previous circumstance, everything that you've had has created who you are today. But today and tomorrow and the future that's you're creating, right? This life that you're starting to manifest for yourself and as a father for your 4 sons, how beautiful that you get to recreate, right? You have this clean, white, beautiful canvas, and now you get to choose new colors with new paintbrushes with this abundance mindset. So you can come with any colors and start to create and form and, build this beautiful picture of a life that is available and ahead of you. And there's no need to come with all the darkness, right? The black colors and the pain that you've had in your past, because it doesn't belong in today. It doesn't belong in your future. So if you
That's
start to change your story, your life is going to change.
There's tons of uranium and tons of nuclear fission, cutting me tons of energies. But I mean, these are not words from your side. These are energy packets to me. And again, I like to, since taking the opportunity, since you allow me to ask more questions, and since we are talking, uh, I mean, as a client to you, I mean, I keep at this, when I'm busy, it's okay. But I mean, since I've started this podcasting for 3 months now, so this is one of the most wonderful thing that as ever I has have undertaken. I've been talking to you, people like yourself, the positive mind, and every day I sit and talk to people like yourself, and I keep getting these energies. But there is one thing that doesn't I've been unable to scratch out of my head is the previous relationship. Uh, since I was very and truly sincere to the relationship, and my part of the world, people, you will find numerous and a lot of other. I'm not the only example. There are tens and thousands of into millions of people who are really sincere to their relationship, and they do not look around for any nonsense thing. So since it's 2 decades more, it's around 2 decades. So I find it really hard on me at times, not always, but at times, yes. And I've been unable to scratch it off lately. Could you help me do that?
So I would like to invite you, if you don't feel the need to scratch it off, your words, right? How does it feel, and would you be open to serving this relationship, even though you two are not together anymore, but serving this relationship from your heart center? Meaning, when you're speaking to this person, right, to your ex wife, you speak from a place of love. And even though you two are not together and whatever happened in the past that brought you two to become apart, you start to have these conversations in your own mind with her through a place of love, and practice and watch how your thoughts start to transform, how your conversation starts to change when you can look at her in your own mind and in your own words that stay in your own head. But you start to change that relationship with her through a place of love and forgiveness.
Oh, I mean, this is too tough. I mean, I'll try. I'll rather act. I'll just revert. I'll try do something, but this is really tough, really tough. For forgiving, yeah, I mean, one can forgive. I mean, I say I forgive everything, but I mean, this is too tough. I mean, to be honest, nobody forgives anybody. Say, I mean, I may also say, and I can't do anything about that anymore. And I really do not want to do anything more, just because I don't want to look back, because each bit of it was so toxic and this was full of pain. I don't want to repeat anything like. But I mean, forgiving. I say, I mean, I keep saying this that I'm forgiving. I have forgiven her, like everything. But to be honest, truly, I failed. I fail forgiving in forgiving. Yes, I did once. I mean, I did it to my brothers. When I mean, there was some stuff. I mean, I could do for a huge favor to them, and I could not get back in the same coin. But I mean, and there was a person in my life. I really he's no more, and I really thank you, my friend, my best friend's father, and he told me, and he just counseled me to forgive. And when yes, I forgave them. And the day I forgave them, I was so relieved and happy. And I know the feelings of forgiveness. I have been through that, but don't know why am I not forgiving this relationship, despite the fact I already have done once. I mean, not for too many times, but once I have I have done it, and I have really enjoyed forgiving. And I really know the feelings, how elevating and joyful feelings are when you forgive somebody. He, despite the fact he or she or may not be knowing it that I have forgiven, but the vibes and the feelings and the emotions I know. But I mean, help me forgive her.
So it's understandable that you have trouble to move to a state of forgiveness when you're still holding on so much to the heaviness of the relationship and what didn't work. And maybe without knowing more details of what happened, I can sense from you that you still have a lot of hurt and pain inside of this relationship. And similar to what we talked about before, right, with the different energies, where you have this catabolic energies that also embody pain and suffering. It's easy when you're feeling that and allowing those thoughts and then feelings into your own body. It's easy to keep going down and down and down into that, right? And bringing in the suffering on yourself of why it didn't work and what she did to you and what you've done to yourself and all of that, right? And this is where you have to make the intentional thought to change. And maybe you start with abundance, because for you this is an easy word, right? And you say again, into the gratitude, where am I thankful for? I have myself, I have my body, I have my sons around me. These are the things that I'm grateful for. And then I would encourage you to really, and it's just inside yourself, Safar. You don't have to share your own thoughts. Visualize her and start to have a conversation, but come from your heart, come from love, and witness in your own practice how that transforms. And talk to me tomorrow and let me know. And this is the
Oh,
beginning. This is the beginning.
uh, the most joyous moment, I mean, is when somebody else invites me to talk. I the things in my life I ever has enjoyed is the company. The sense of being together. This togetherness has a lot of meaning. It means the world to me. Surely, I mean, I'll just be getting back to you tomorrow again. And sure, yes, I had never thought of it, and nobody have ever guided me, despite the fact that I have been talking to professionals even. And in my own circle, I have my friends, the clinical psychologists in US. They're from Pakistan, and they're professionally they are in US and in UK and other part of the world too, and even here in my country too. And I have been seeking the professional advice because the wreckage I have been through, the breakage, the Holocaust I have been through. I mean, I can't be expressed in words. But I mean, yeah, done is done. I mean, I have moved on, and I am relearning things, and I'm thinking like people like yourself are my. I don't know. God has been great. I mean, God has been sending people like yourself into my life, and I am thankful to God and to yourself being and bringing that God's blessing through you and through your words into my life as an energy packets. Thank you so much. I'll be doing that. Anything else you want to ask me?
So I think really it's just from this place of abundance. I'd love to connect with you again soon, and we can talk more about. Let's see, tomorrow I do want to hear from you and see if you were able to do this practice. And then during our next session, our next podcast together, it would be great to go further and maybe allow some time to pass so we see what comes into our world between now and then.
That's amazing. Lauren, honestly, no words, no words to thank you. I mean, the words are too small to the time that you have given to me. This is your life, part of your life. This is, and I nobody can thank anybody for one's life. And but I mean, still, I thank you so much. And okay, before I leave, I like to draw your attention because earlier we talked was about housing. So there's another aspect that I'm also working, which is very crucial for everybody. That is my dream about world without homelessness. So I want what I'm as I'm working for abundance. So this abundance for housing and a dignified shelter, a peaceful place, to call it a home. So, what's your take on that? I mean, is there anything that you think of? I mean, we can collaborate to do anything. We can voice at least. We can sit together and we can reach the people who really matter.
Yeah, so this, I think actually that we did mention, which should be one of our topics on the upcoming podcast, is homelessness and this mission to end homelessness, right? And I think, we spoke briefly about what's available for people. And I think the first is getting the message out there. So for people to understand how big of an impact that they can have in terms of providing shelter, providing anything. I mean, it's not always just money or resources, but also just time. If those that have time available that can come and help, pass food or pass clothing that's already been donated. There's different organizations in most cities and even small towns. Smaller towns, generally, it's churches that donate and gather from communities, but also in big cities on top of churches. There's different nonprofit and even for-profit organizations that help provide communities specifically for people that have found themselves, for whatever reason, that they don't have shelter available to them. So they are not living in homes. And then there's different homeless centers and shelters that are always asking for donations of time, service, or of food and clothing and different toiletries and these kind of things. And I think the more that we can start to talk about it and just bring some light to that area that needs help, we're going to be able to really make changes there.
Thank you so much, Lauren. It was really amazing. I really, I mean, at times, I feel I get myself speechless. And as yourself, a dynamic leader, transformational in transformational coach, a corporate personality, a transformer in a business expert at CMA, CGM, and brilliant mind behind LG Energy Coaching. Lauren, thank you so much and see you soon. And bye bye.
Thank you very much, Safar. Be well.